do you have as the ones that maybe we worry a little bit about?
In terms of teams that I think have unanswered questions, big questions. And this doesn't mean these teams are worse if they find the answers.
Yeah.
I'm going to start out quickly and easily with England, right? Yeah. We said this about Gareth Southgate until we were blue in the face that, he's probably a better person than he is an actual coach on the team.
Yeah.
He is somebody who would agree with you about in fact, we know it, right? Stout defending wins titles or wins World Cups. The problem I have here with his stout defending narrative is that you have a lot of good attacking players. You have a lot of players who play for clubs who are used to attacking the ball, demanding the ball, taking the game to the opposition. And you don't have all these great defenders. And so why are you planning on giving the ball to the opposition when you know that one mistake,
completely.
I don't want to pick on Maguire, but it could be Maguire, could be Stones, could be Walker, could be your goalkeeper. None of those guys are, necessarily world class, right? And you have so much at the other end.
And it's hard, as we've explained before, to set an identity to your national team because you don't have much time to work. You only see your players 5 times a year. I get it. But when you've got so many players who actually play in a similar way, let's say at club level, certainly in terms of pressing and counter-pressing, especially when you had to hold Guardiola and Klopp as manager of your 3 biggest teams in England, and now even with Arteta in the mix, just follow them. They can even guide you if you're Southgate and say like, okay, at least when we lose the ball or we don't have the ball, we can play like what you do at club level. They're so used to it.
And it fits. I remember, talking to Fabio Capello and Sven-Göran Eriksson, they both said the same thing. They said, like, England had an empire they're all conquering. They can't play defensively. They have to attack. Well, weirdly, those guys leave. The English guy comes, and then they play defensive and counterattack, which, again, how I love busting on stereotypes. Clearly, there's something wrong with the stereotype of the conquering Englander. All right, I'll pick I'll pick another team, and then you can have your 2. Yeah. And I'm going to pick the U.S. And our friend Greg Berhalter, of course, has been a guest on Gab Juls Meets. My question mark is, what condition are your best players in going into this World Cup? I have no idea what I'm going to get from Christian Pulisic.
Yeah, in terms of Pulisic, okay.
And I have no idea what I'm going to get from Gio Reyna.
Yeah.
We know that they're great players, but it's just between lack of playing time and injuries in Reyna's case and chaos. These guys are coming from chaos at club level. I know Dortmund settled down a little bit, with Turcic, but still, I mean, that place is a zoo with the injuries.
And the last results have been
exactly. And obviously even more so for Pulisic at Chelsea.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the issue for me is like, what are you here for? Are you here in Doha to prepare in 4 years' time, which is by a mile the most important of the 2 World Cups, right? Or this actually matters? Does this matter here for the US? Is coming out of the group matters? Is the last 16 plays matters? Or quarterfinals would be great. Do you see what I mean? Are you here to learn?
Look, as you know, I always talk about performance over results. Obviously, in World Cups, results matter. But 2026 is on the horizon. I think you have to judge the performance of this U.S. national team and whether you want to continue with Greg Berhalter after this World Cup based on what you see. They could lose all 3 games and play well and hit their targets.
Yeah.
And you can see growth and you can see belief, right? That is possible. It does happen.
But I'm not sure right now that Berhalter, people around the national team, at the federation, even the players themselves know what is the best. If you focus on performance, if you want to focus on result, and
you want to focus on growth.
And try
it's the youngest team at the World Cup.
Yeah, but do you grow by also qualifying for the last 16? Do you grow by grinding out 3 results, get 1 draw, 1 defeat, 1 win, and it's enough to go through? I don't know. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think players know. They know when they've played badly and don't deserve to be. Quickly in the U.S., this lack of a center forward narrative, is that a thing?
I mean, I never see that as a problem. If you've got someone who can fill that role, it would be a different style of player. It would be a false 9. It would be a Pulisic. It could be a Reyna. You could play, I don't know who, Yunus Musa if you want there. You could play anybody as long as he knows exactly what to do. And and this is my issue here, the team around him knows exactly what to do. Yeah, and right now, they don't.
It's not rocket science. I mean, when people talk about, you need a center forward. Well, Liverpool did pretty well with Roberto Firmino at center forward, right? If you have the right wide players who are coordinated, who come inside in the right
and you play
situations,
the right way.
you can get around that.
If you hoof the ball towards Joe Reyna as a false nine, this isn't going to take you nowhere.
All right, Jules, who are you worried about? Who's keeping you up at night?
I mean, the one has to be Cristiano Ronaldo and Portugal, and we will talk about Cristiano in the quick hits, of course, and what's happening with United. But this is the World Cup now. I think he's forgotten about United already. He's focused on this. This is his last World Cup, I think, because he says he wants to play until 40, so it will be obviously retiring before the next one. And it's an amazing squad even without Diogo Jota. This is a squad that should be competitive, that could go far, should go far in this competition, and yet I'm not sure about Fernando Santos and how he approaches this competition. If he can do a Deschamps and go back to being very defensive, which I think is counterproductive to their talent. I don't know how Cristiano comes here. I think this is huge. I think it's a Michael Jordan last dance type of competition for him.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with the last dance side of things, because obviously I wrote a whole column saying why it was not a last dance in my opinion.
That's why I'm telling you.
So you are trying to wind up. No, but and obviously it is his last World Cup, just like it's probably going to be Lionel Messi's last World Cup. I think Cristiano, we saw when they won the Euros, that he can adopt, I don't say necessarily a subordinate role. Maybe I'm giving him too much credit, but I think he's aware of the talent around him. And I think that is going to be, for me, the big question. Are you aware what Rafael Leao can do? To what degree are you aware? To what degree do you have faith in Leao, in Bernardo, in those guys, in Bruno, right? And to what degree are you willing to go into the Zlatan Ibrahimovic role later in his career, when he said, these are things I can do better than anybody else. These are things where I'm going to sacrifice myself a little bit for this guy, so that he can.
Because if he doesn't score, what else can you rely on?
Cristiano can do other things. He can be a decoy. He can hold the ball up. These are things that maybe you can say he hasn't done at club level.
Yeah.
But for Portugal, would he be willing to do it if he believes it's the right thing to win? I think he's at the stage where he wants to win a World Cup more than he wants to score 10 goals.
I would want to believe that he right now wants to do what's best for his country. I'm just not too convinced this is the way it's heading for Portugal.
Yeah, or that Fernando Santos is the guy to bring it all together.
Exactly.
That is an age-old discussion there.
And my second one is another big European country in Germany, because as much as we like Hansi Flick and as good as the whole Hansi Flick era started after Jogi Löw, lately it hasn't been great. There's still the issue up front. Who do you play up front? Do you play Kai Havertz as a false nine, or like a different nine? Let's put it that way. Who do you play around him? Who do you play with him? What do you do with Thomas Müller? Is there room for Thomas Müller in that team? Do you play Müller behind Havertz?
Well, here's the thing,
two players wide, in like Sané and Gnabry?
All right. They have to play somebody up front, right? So assuming that, you don't play Gnabry at center forward or Müller at center forward, if Havertz is the center forward and you want to play with wingers because you have good wingers, right? Musiala, I think, has to play.
Yeah. So where do you put Thomas Müller?
So then where do you put Müller?
Exactly.
I just don't see how the pieces
work. Thomas Müller?
Oh, that's a big ask. And then you play Müller at center forward, and then you don't have the running behind, and then you sacrifice Kai Havertz.
Yeah.
Which,
and I
good
think
Kai Havertz is very good.
And I think Hansi Flick right now has the same issues as us. Musiala will be a star in this World Cup, there's no doubt. So he will I would think that
he has to start.
Then you heavy on Bayern Munich structure in that team, because you suspect that Kimmich and Goretzka are going to play too. Yeah. And Neuer in goal. And then it's defensively. That line of four defensively, I still don't know who plays fullbacks. I'm not sure about Schlotterbeck. Obviously, no. So a centre back, I've got no Mats Hummels. That's the name I was looking for. Obviously. So this is a line that I'm not too sure about what they do with it. And again, I think if they're not solid enough defensively, they can be in trouble.
And I think it does matter too, because I don't expect Kimmich and Goretzka to necessarily provide as much cover, or rather in this World Cup. Yeah. And that's why the back four, I think, matters.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.